What's up, Taiwan? I'm Sandy Chi with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's military is putting its combat readiness to test as it launches its largest annual Hangguang exercise. Our reporter Alan Liu went to a Navy response drill to see how they're using unscripted scenarios to prepare for real threats.
On the first day of the Hangguang military exercise, we're here in Keelung as Taiwan's Navy stands by to deploy ships to counter simulated threats. We've been here all morning and it's been about 5 hours. But since this year's drills are designed to be intentionally unscripted, the warships are still waiting for the order to head out to sea. The goal is to test how quickly the military can respond when that order is finally given. It's part of this year's exercise scenario, in which China's military suddenly escalates from conducting drills to making an attack, requiring Taiwan's forces to respond immediately. One expert observing the exercise says the Navy and Air Force are already responding to frequent Chinese incursions on a regular basis, making their training as close to real combat as possible.
尤其是海空军海空军基建来讲他们一出海一升空，他根本就是没有剧本，也没有，因为不知道我们叫共军怎么演嘛然后呢，他每次出海升空都是实战化的训练。
And these drills reflects China's continued military pressure on Taiwan. From Tuesday to Wednesday morning, Taiwan's Defense Ministry reported 21 Chinese military aircraft and 9 warships operating near the country. This activity follows a PLA Joint Combat Readiness Patrol near Taiwan ahead of Hangguang, raising questions about the timing of the operation.
那我们在演习的期间，面对中国的这样的袭扰包括这个联合战备群，也不是第一次，我们都有相关的应验的方案，那不会因为这个中国来袭扰而中断我们的演习科目。
The drill at Keelung Port was just one of a series of exercises taking place across Taiwan on Wednesday. In the east, Air Force C-130 transport aircraft and Mirage 2000 fighter jets were deployed to Hualien as part of combat survivability operations. Troops there also set up defensive obstacles along key access roads to simulate a response to a Chinese invasion. Meanwhile, dozens of reservists in New Taipei took up positions along a beach facing the Taiwan Straits, firing Taiwan-made assault rifles at targets representing Chinese forces coming ashore. This year's Hangguang exercise will set a new record, with up to 5,000 reservists taking part in the 10-day drills, and there's more to come. This year's exercise features not only military operations, but also expanded civilian participation aimed at strengthening whole of society resilience. And this maritime drill is just the beginning. Fu Hua Hong and Anna Lu in Keelung for TaiwanPlus.
To learn more about this year's Hangguang exercise and what it means for Taiwan's defense readiness, Alan Liu spoke to Tony Hu, a former Pentagon official who has closely observed the exercise over the years.
This year's Hangguang exercise expands its urban resilience drills and for the first time include a simulated internet disruption. What does this say about Taiwan's evolving defense strategies?
I think this is a part of being realistic, because in PRC's attack plan, there definitely will include disruption of Taiwan's internet service, along with, of course, electricity, water, and possibly fuel. So to include this in the exercise actually is a good thing that people should think about. Of course, it's so important for people to also realize these other shortages might happen.
The number of reservists taking part will increase from around 3,000 last year to as many as 5,000 this year. What capabilities is the military trying to test?
They want to test this reserve call-out plan to make sure they can identify if there's any areas they need to improve, any shortfalls. And also, my understanding is they will also undergo weapons training, including live fire exercises. And more importantly, I believe, is they will gain terrain familiarization of the area they're supposed to defend. Because they need to know the layout, the town, the streets, where the hills are, what the good defense positions are, and where they can set up kill zones against the enemy if the enemy get close.
Defense Minister Wellington Koo said in a recent interview that the U.S. Pacific Command continues to support improvement to Taiwan's defense capabilities. So based on your understanding, what role has the U.S. played in supporting or shaping this year's Hanguang exercise?
Every year, U.S. PACOM sends an observation team to help Taiwan improve. And based on my own experience through those 12 years, every year I see improvement because whatever that's in the after action review as far as listed as improved, the Chief of General Staff will assign somebody to be in charge of getting that fixed. So the following year's exercise, usually we go through that task again to see if there's any improvement. If there's improvement, then we'll focus on other area. So U.S. PACOM's desire to making sure Taiwan have a very strong self-defense capability, it depends on Taiwan's constant improvement.
That was Tony Hu, a former Pentagon official. Taiwanese people traveling to China should be more careful when Beijing's new immigration rules take effect next month. That's according to the Mainland Affairs Council, which manages Taipei's relations with Beijing.
禁止你出境就禁止你出境，没有法定的要件，没有清楚的法律规范。
China is implementing new rules that could bar its citizens from leaving the country if they are deemed a threat to national or technological security. And people who commit illegal acts overseas may be forbidden from exiting China for 6 months to 3 years. The new rules also tighten entry regulations for foreigners. China claims Taiwan as part of its territory, and it is unclear how the new rules might impact Taiwanese people traveling there. Authorities are investigating 17 Chinese-linked firms over alleged illegal poaching of Taiwanese high-tech talent. Investigators raided dozens of locations and questioned more than 100 people across Taiwan. Similar raids took place in March. The Justice Ministry said the companies involved often concealed their identities and set up unauthorized offices posing as local or foreign businesses. Officials warned that China has ramped up efforts to poach tech talent since the emergence of the global AI boom, and that this could chip away at Taiwan's tech advantages. Taiwan's stock market has surged following solid U.S. stock performance and renewed hopes of stability in the Middle East. The TAIEX, Taiwan's benchmark stock index, rose with U.S. markets, enjoying gains for tech heavyweights TSMC, MediaTek, and Foxconn. This comes as oil prices fell to a 3-week low amid reports of progress in Iran war peace talks, with one U.S. official saying the Strait of Hormuz could reopen imminently. Japan's Nikkei and South Korea's Kospi also jumped, continuing a series of wild swings in East Asian markets. The fallout from a tainted cooking oil scandal continues to snowball as new leads emerge, while authorities reject accusations of a cover-up. Irene Lin has the latest.
A food safety scandal continues to gain momentum. Lawmakers and health authorities met Wednesday to discuss the case of tainted cooking oil that exploded in early July and is still bubbling on as new cases come to light and more parties are implicated. On the top of the agenda is the latest company under scrutiny, the state-run Taiwan Sugar Corporation, or Taisugar. Back in May, the company returned a batch of semi-processed oil bought from manufacturer Central Union Oil after detecting an illegal amount of the carcinogenic chemical benzopyrene, or BAP. But Taisugar didn't notify authorities about it until last week.
发现原料有致癌物，为什么不用通报主管机关？令人家觉得很荒谬的是，我们所有的政府部门官官相护，还称赞台糖是模范生、好宝宝。 如果有监督，那就请中央地方用同一套标准，不要只挑中央来写。那也请把那个台中市政府补上去，不是只有单一的。本来中央、地方、业者的各个权责义务都应该要讲清楚、说明白。
Health Minister Shi Chongliang says the law only requires food producers to report problems in goods that are ready for store shelves, not raw materials or semi-processed products. Shi says the rules could be changed to address this in the future, but for now, he rejects accusations of a government cover-up.
真正盖牌的 是中联，是检调所调查当中的泰山、福茂、福寿主管机关、中央主管机关从未盖牌，所以对这样的指控跟扭曲无法接受。
More than 3,000 consumers plan to sue the manufacturer at the center of this case. Meanwhile, more cooking oil containing the carcinogen has been recalled in southern Taiwan.
是在3月1号，向我们台中市的一个精品坊食品有限公司，它是购买了这个苦茶籽我们也已经移给我们的这个台中市来追查这个苦茶籽的一个来源。
Authorities are investigating one supplier of camellia seeds and 2 manufacturers. But as new leads emerge, more gaps in Taiwan's food safety regulations are coming to light, setting the stage for a bigger political storm and public outcry ahead. Chris Ma in Ringland for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has suspended pork shipments from the outlying island of Kinmen to prevent the spread of African swine fever. This comes after a second pig carcass infected with the highly contagious disease was found on Kinmen's shore. The first infected carcass was found near the island in July. Officials say the pork ban will be in place for at least a week and that nearby pig farms tested negative. Authorities warn more carcasses could be drifting in from elsewhere, raising the risk of contamination. A heat wave is lingering over parts of East Asia, with South Korea and Japan seeing another day of dangerous temperatures. In Seoul, the heat is further exposing the rift between rich and poor, while at Taisugar in Tokyo, high temperatures and humidity have proven fatal for some of the animals. John Van Triest reports.
From the Seoul shantytown of Kuang village, South Korea's wealth gap has long been plain to see. Piles of abandoned junk and makeshift shelters in the foreground, and the multi-million-dollar luxury apartments of swanky Gangnam in the distance. But this summer, there's a new class divide that's making itself felt sharply: access to air conditioning. South Korea's weather service has much of the country under some kind of heat alert as of Wednesday, and this severe heat wave looks far from over. For those without air conditioning at home in this poor community, the weather's gotten unbearable.
Usually, the temperature here is around 35, 36, or 37 degrees during the day. Then inside here, it goes over 40 degrees. It always gets above 40. Then it's impossible to sleep.
A heat shelter is in place in the village to help prevent heat stroke. And yet, for some, scavenging for fans among the junk piles here has become a way of survival.
I'm just barely surviving. It goes without saying. I have picked up fans here and there, and now I have 3 or 4 of them going around.
Meanwhile, Japan is also laboring under another oppressively hot day, with heat stroke alerts over much of the country on Wednesday. And it's not just humans who are being affected. In Tokyo's Tama Zoological Park, 10 of the lions have fallen ill. The zoo says lions are adapted to the dry heat of the African savanna, not to the mix of intense heat and humidity found in the Far East.
Around mid-July, several of our lions began to show signs of poor health. Specifically, some of them stopped eating and became extremely lethargic to the point that they could no longer move.
3 of those lions are now dead. A vet at the zoo says heat stroke led to dehydration and multiple organ failure. The safari buses that move through the lion enclosure have stopped until further notice, as some of the other lions continue treatment. The zoo says it's working to protect its animals, with water sprinkling, better ventilation, and putting in spot air conditioners. And unlike in some parts of Japan, where temperatures have broken 40 degrees Celsius, the mercury in Tokyo is set to hover around 30 for the coming days. But this summer, and the chance of further extreme heat, isn't over yet. Ethan Chen and John Van Triest for TaiwanPlus.
Thanks for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of dogs enjoying the waves at the annual World Dog Surfing Championships in California. I'm Sunny Shi. Take care and see you next time.